Hello and a very warm welcome to the UK Bus and Coach Awards for 2021. I'm sorry it's been such a long time since we've all been together. I very much hope that we will be together in person next year at the Troxy in London. And it's been even longer since we've been able to have the Coach Awards. So the organisers of this year decided to combine the two. And the usual host of the Coach Awards is, of course, the wonderful Carol Kirkwood, and she is here to explain a little bit more about how this year's ceremony is just a little different.
Well, in this combined awards scheme, there are new categories and a simplified entry process which reflect the difficulties the bus and coach industries have been facing during the pandemic. And there are no bronze, silver and gold winners. Instead, there is simply a winner in each category, although sometimes the judges have selected separate winners from the bus and coach industries. So this is a very different awards. Before we get started, here's Sir Peter Hendy to say a few words of introduction.
Hi, of course I'm Peter Hendy. I know most of you from my long service in the bus industry. I'm now the chair of Network Rail. But many people in the rail industry regard me as a bus person, which of course I think I probably really am. You might have got a different person to do this welcome to the 2021 UK Bus and Coach Awards, and it was my intention at Mark Yexley's invitation to get the Prime Minister Boris Johnson to do this, but just occasionally the pressure of national and international business means that he can't always do everything he's asked to, and this is one occasion when we were hoping to get him to do this video, but he couldn't do it in time. So as a poor second order substitute, you've got me. But I know what Boris would have said, and I'm going to say it for him, and I know that he would have said it with conviction and probably made you laugh a lot more than I will. But what the bus and coach industries have done during the pandemic is completely extraordinary, and what the people have done is absolutely magnificent. Many of us stayed at home because we could, as secure as we could from a virus which we were frightened of, and some of us still are. The bus and coach industry is full of people who left their homes, worried though they were about the effects of the pandemic and what it might do to their health and their lives, and served the public. Who do we have? We had the drivers who kept going throughout in really difficult circumstances, meeting, as you do, hundreds of people on their bus every day. The engineering staff who had their own challenge in maintaining vehicles but attempting to maintain social distancing too. The fabulous cleaning staff who nobody ever thinks about even normally, but who've managed to embrace enhanced cleaning regimes, working long hours to complete that and sometimes away from where they normally worked, cleaning buses in service. Our backroom people who've coped with frequent rescheduling of services on an enormous scale to match needs often at short notice, or who've administered the furlough scheme for hundreds of employees. The managers and directors who kept morale up, explained the changes to colleagues and customers alike, and tried to play a wider role in, for example, providing special services to testing and vaccination centres or converting buses and coaches to be mobile centres. The many people in local government, the DFT, the Office of the Traffic Commissioners, the Commissioners themselves, who have worked with companies and with the Confederation of Passenger Transport to remove obstacles and create the framework for a better future. And that recognition of all those people is of course saddened immensely by those who aren't with us today, who died during the course of the pandemic doing their public service jobs in an ordinary way. Sadly, dozens of them, and we pay our respects and a tribute to them and what they did, and the terrible way in which they died. And of course there are others whose healths have been permanently affected by this terrible virus, which is the worst crisis in all our lives, I think. So Boris would have said that better. He'd have said it with equal conviction. I know he would have meant it, and indeed, I think we will still get a video from him at some stage, because I know that he cares very deeply about all those people and about the service they've given to the country. As a poor second substitute, you got me, but I've said it from the bottom of my heart as well. I think it's been just such a great service to the country, and it's a great way to introduce these fabulous awards to celebrate the great people of the bus and coach industries. Thank you very much.
Regardless of the pandemic, the UK's bus drivers have been going above and beyond the call of duty. For example, when passengers collapse on the bus. Just such an incident happened to Metro Line driver Ayeshitu Saidu Osman, or Aisha to her colleagues in Hammersmith. After bringing her bus to a safe halt and calling a code red, Aisha calmly took control and, under the instruction of the emergency services, began chest compressions. 5 long minutes later, the passenger regained consciousness and was taken to hospital. The fast response to a call for help from Go Ahead London driver Paul Daly also helped save the life of a regular passenger found unconscious on his bus in Petts Wood. A doctor waiting at the bus stop helped, and a passing rail worker brought a defibrillator from the station. The passenger was later discharged from hospital. Unfortunately, there isn't always a happy ending, but the UK's bus drivers have to take it all in their stride. At the start of the pandemic, a passenger on Brahim Tobal Sagir's Route 251 bus became ill. The passengers got off, fearing they might catch COVID. But Brahim called a code red to RATP Dev London and, under instruction, began giving CPR until medical help arrived. Sadly, the passenger did not recover from the heart attack, and Brahim had not caught COVID-19. Sometimes it's a colleague that collapses and needs help. Go North West driver Rob Ward sprung into action and saved the life of a colleague who had collapsed at Shude Hill bus station. The man recovered, and Rob now has the dual accolade of colleague champion besides his customer champion achievement. Arriva London drivers Mark Merchant and Vicky Ward were looking forward to a meal break at Edmonton Green bus station when a boy ran up and asked them for help. While passers-by ignored the incident or took pictures and video without offering assistance, Mark and Vicky found 2 boys on the ground who had been stabbed, one severely. Following instructions, the 2 drivers worked on the boy until the air ambulance arrived. Their actions saved the boy's life and he recovered in hospital. That the UK's bus drivers are willing to come to the assistance of those needing help when others pass by says a lot for their professionalism and care. Sometimes drivers put themselves in danger to help, such as when Oxford Bus Company driver Asim Ali stopped his bus and jumped off to help a couple being assaulted on the roadside. Sheltering them on his bus, Ali stood between the couple and their attacker until the police arrived and arrested the suspect. Sometimes, a threatening situation can result in injury to a driver, as happened on Go Ahead London's Route 286 back in April. Driver Gerhard Martin came to the aid of a female visually impaired passenger who was being threatened by 2 other passengers. In doing so, he suffered damage to his ankle ligaments, but his actions meant the female was unharmed. RATP Dev London driver Hassan Mohammed is another who showed extremely high customer care late one night this year. A 13-year-old girl boarded his bus and gave the name of a road she wanted to go to. Hassan told the girl when they reached the nearest stop, but the girl seemed to change her mind and produced a different address. His suspicions were raised, and she eventually admitted that she had run away from home and that the address was for someone she met on the internet. It was Hassan's last trip of the evening, so he persuaded the girl to stay on the bus to the terminus and allow him to call her parents, which he did, as well as the police, and arranged for the girl to be reunited with her very grateful parents. Not every incident can be so sinister, but still allows our bus drivers to shine. Go Ahead London driver Graham Gordon welcomed a woman onto his bus, accompanied by a boy wearing a hidden disability lanyard. The lady told Graham where he needed to get off, and that his mother be there to meet him. When the bus arrived at an empty stop, the boy became very distressed and refused to leave the bus. After agreeing with the controller to transfer his passengers onto the bus following, Graham stayed with the boy in his vehicle until his mother arrived. Sometimes, drivers witnessed accidents and are first on the scene to help. Driver Edmund Shodaru saw a car collide with a mother pushing a buggy, throwing the buggy across the road. He jumped out of the cab and ran over to the 13-month-old baby who was motionless and not breathing. Having attended an RATP Dev London training course, Edmund began gentle CPR on the baby girl, as he had been taught, and she started to come back to life. Another collision happened in front of Arriva Wrexham driver Mohammed Mubakar just outside Mold, when an overtaking sports car collided head-on with a car coming the other way. After asking his passengers to stay on board, Mohammed rushed to help the driver of the oncoming vehicle who was trapped in her car. He called the emergency services, and having determined that the driver had no head or limb injuries, Mohammed prized open the door and got the driver out. And finally, events off the bus can also produce some lateral thinking from the UK's hero bus drivers. In February, a member of the public was threatening to jump off an overpass in Norwich. First Eastern Counties drivers Andrew Clutton and Abel Nasir Ladjali were caught up in the commotion before the police arrived, and seeing what was going on, manoeuvred their double-deck buses under the bridge so that if the person jumped, they wouldn't have so far to fall. All these drivers are great ambassadors for the UK bus industry and show how operators serve their various communities up and down the country. More than providing a bus service, they go above and beyond. So from one set of heroes, it's now time to find out who our award winners are. Starting with our first category, Build Back Better, which is designed to recognize and reward initiatives that help bus and coach businesses recover from the pandemic and take steps to position themselves to respond to market changes and plan for the future. From a wide range of excellent entries, the judges picked 2 winners, one from each of the bus and coach sectors. Transdev was praised for its extensive positive messaging about traveling by bus, notably its clean, safe and ready-to-go campaign, while also expanding the business with the purchase of Yorkshire Tiger earlier this year. The judges described Bellevue's entry as almost a blueprint for how to survive a pandemic, with a real team effort from management and staff, as well as integrating another coach business acquired as the pandemic struck. There were so many excellent entries in this category that the judges wanted to give special mentions to National Express West Midlands for creating reasons to travel, having staff on the ground to give customers confidence and its bold move in reducing fares. Yellow Buses for its development and expansion of open-topped bus routes, becoming a tourist attraction in themselves, as well as the changes brought about by a management buyout. Communications. Good communications have proved to be an essential tool during the pandemic, whether it's passing on news, raising the morale of employees, or giving details about facilities and service changes to customers. The judges again selected a winner from each of the bus and coach industries. The judges praised TransLink for its travel campaigns that were all about hope, picking up on the NHS rainbow and involving local children in producing artwork. Amongst coach operators, the judges described Alpha Travel's customer engagement as Premier League stuff, creating a good community feeling, and noting that Alpha is posting several messages on its Facebook page every day. Outstanding Partnerships. The award for Outstanding Partnerships seeks to recognize and reward outstanding examples of how partnerships have helped bus and coach operators survive the pandemic and put in the building blocks for future success. The judges noted that there was a particularly strong pool of entries in this category and selected Stagecoach East Midlands for its Stagecoach Connect NHS Workers Transport Service. Using a demand-driven digital booking platform, NHS workers were able to get to and from a hospital in time for their shifts. Launched initially in Mansfield, Stagecoach also worked in 3 NHS trusts and various local authorities to create services for hospitals in Grimsby and Hull. Outstanding Teamwork. Teamwork proved to be more important than ever in helping bus and coach companies cope with the ever-changing demands of the pandemic, as well as putting things in place to build for the future. The award for Outstanding Teamwork goes to the National Express Bus Recruitment Team, which the judges praised for tackling the issue of recruiting drivers head-on during the pandemic, learning and adapting the process within the various restrictions. The team even managed to reduce the historical establishment gap from over 100 to less than 40, an outstanding result. Services to the Community. The award for Services to the Community is designed to recognize and reward a scheme, project, or other activity by a bus or coach operator that has provided benefits to local people. The entries reflected the many different ways in which bus and coach operators have grounded themselves in the local community, Such was the variety that the judges picked out 2 winners. Brighton and Hove Buses Above and Beyond campaign celebrates individuals in the city that have done so much for its community. Each person's story is told on the inside and outside of 24 new buses, as well as on a microsite, and has created huge community engagement for the bus operator. First York's Restart Fund was a competition giving cash awards to support small and independent businesses. Social media engagement increased by 1,000%, and there was a doubling of click-through rates from emails. The judges loved this innovative approach and noted that the profile and goodwill generated has helped First York to build new partnerships. Technology and innovation. The pandemic has seen many innovations introduced at pace, and the bus and coach sectors have been no exception. Looking to the future, the technology and innovation category also recognizes the continued pace of new technology and innovation in the bus and coach industries that has continued despite the pandemic and is not directly related to it. With this in mind, the judges selected Milton Keynes Council's MK Connect DRT scheme. Commenting that it was good to see a local authority entry, the judges liked this scheme as the first in the UK that integrates DRT into the existing transport network. None of the above. With fewer and different categories than usual, and not wanting to miss out on something that doesn't easily fit into one of the other categories, we had a wide range of entries in the none of the above category. From these, the judges selected Stagecoach London for working with ambulances at its West Ham garage. After clearing a significant area of the garage, including pits and canteen facilities, the engineering team worked with the AA and London Ambulance Service to kit out second-hand vehicles and bring 62 new ambulances into service in 5 days, instead of the usual 2 vehicles a week. The operational ambulance fleet was increased from 350 to more than 600, which the judges noted would have had a significant effect on saving lives. We're halfway through the awards, so let's take a break to take a look at some of the best vehicle liveries created during the pandemic. Impact on the bus or coach industry by an individual. This category recognizes the contribution made by one person whose actions have had a major positive impact on the bus or coach industries. That could be over a period of years or even a one-off event or act. This year's winners have both had a big impact on their respective industries in quite different ways. Honk for Hope UK was probably the coach industry's most visible campaign to the general public. It brought together operators from up and down the country at a series of rallies and convoys held throughout the UK, including Newcastle, Edinburgh, Cardiff, Blackpool and London, often attracting several hundred coaches. This huge campaign was organised by one person. The deserving winner is Jenna Rush of North East Coach Travel. Victoria Garcia, MBE, continues to have a big impact on the bus industry and its many users with accessibility needs. Amongst her many achievements, she has changed the bus design to include features like effective hearing loops and dementia-friendly colour schemes, and developed the Helping Hands cards, now being rolled out across the Go Ahead group and also used in taxis, cinemas, theatres and shops in Brighton and Hove and beyond. Already awarded an MBE for services to disabled transport users, Victoria can now add this award for impact on the bus industry by an individual. Unsung Heroes. Unsung heroes are those who keep the wheels turning against all the odds, and no more so than during the pandemic. The judges were looking for an individual or team that has a track record of going above and beyond and who has excelled throughout the pandemic. Needless to say, bus and coach operators did not disappoint, and there was a very long list of entries for this category, so much so that the judges selected 3 winners. In alphabetical order, they are Martin Darbon, who the judges praised for the way he stepped up to cover for Brighton and Hove Community Transport's general manager, who was stuck abroad. During the first lockdown, Martin changed the service to take elderly passengers' shopping lists over the telephone and using vehicles to deliver their food, eventually expanding the service to all Brighton and Hove residents. The judges thought that Martin demonstrated the true spirit of community transport. Abellio London's fleet manager Mike Harvey was selected as a winner by the judges, not only for the way in which he held the team together at the Battersea Garage in the face of the death of a much-respected colleague, but with what the judges described as the true compassion he showed in supporting the colleague's family, as well as supporting another colleague now unable to move independently and suffering from long COVID. Jane Hunt is one of the team of garage supervisors at Arriva London's Norwood Garage, where around 440 drivers are based. The garage was especially hard hit with COVID-19 staff sickness, putting extreme pressure on the supervisory teams to maintain services. At one point, Jane was the only supervisor able to work, and did so way beyond her usual hours. It was an extremely difficult year for her after losing her husband to the virus. The judges unanimously thought that she typified an unsung hero. Build Back Better Champion. The Build Back Better Champion Award is aimed at those senior figures who have put themselves out to promote the wider bus or coach sectors, over and above their own business. Some very high-quality entries were received in this category, so the judges decided to award more than one winner. Representing the bus sector, the judges praised Martin Gilbert, Managing Director at Go Northeast, for his outstanding leadership, fast decision-making, and high visibility among his staff and to the public. Daily videos with Q&A sessions, depot visits, and driving buses went alongside appearances on regional TV and marketing campaigns, including a £1 evening fare, which has grown passenger numbers. The judges decided to make 2 awards in this category for the coach industry. Candice Mason from Mason's Minibus and Coach Hire was praised by the judges for her tenacity in eloquently making the case for industry support, enlisting the support of her local MP, and securing interviews in trade journals, in the local and national press, and on radio and TV. The judges also commented that in a male-dominated industry, Candice has brought women to the forefront, and noted that she also organised a free transport service to vaccination centres. Kevin Main of Main's Coaches is another winner picked out for his tireless campaigning for support for the coach industry, which helped achieve success with the Scottish Government. He also made himself available to every UK operator to offer help and advice, and has featured in many written press articles alongside appearances on TV and radio. In his local community, he has provided a COVID-19 response vehicle for the NHS and a coach to become a mobile food bank. Services to the bus industry. A very special award now that is made each year by the Management Committee. The category for services to the bus industry recognises a significant and sustained contribution to the success of the industry by an individual who has consistently gone beyond the call of normal duty to improve and promote the bus industry for its users or the wider community. This year's winner has been in the industry for more than 40 years and has management roles in Birmingham, Brighton, Bournemouth, Bristol and Fareham. He's been the MD of Stagecoach East, CEO of Reading Buses, and until his recent retirement, MD of First West of England. Of course, the winner is James Freeman. Apart from his contributing role as co-patron of the Young Bus Managers Network, he is chair of Bus Rapid Transport UK and says that he is quietly assessing how best to contribute to the bus industry going forward. We now move to the people who are the public face of the bus and coach industry, the hard-working drivers. To become a top driver, entrants need to go that extra mile to provide the customer's ideal, a driver who is friendly, helpful, conscientious, and mindful of passengers' comfort and well-being. The winners will be true professionals and worthy ambassadors for the job. First is the award for Top London Bus Driver. The winner is Septimus Williams, better known as Sep to his colleagues at Abellio London, and originally from Somali. Sep has gone out of his way to help drivers from other countries settle in and assist with their training, learning key phrases in several different languages. He's also helped with adapting training and route learning, and is an outstanding driver with many years of accident-free driving. A great ambassador for the industry. Moving now to the top UK coach driver. The winner is Pat Douglas. Described by his employer as the hardest working driver Bellevue has ever employed, Pat has been with the company for 13 years and is very popular with customers with his quiet, calm and collected demeanour. Whether he's taking a bunch of teenagers to Chester Zoo, driving Manchester City footballers, or taking a tour around Europe, nothing phases him, and he always goes the extra mile to exceed customer expectations. Our final award goes to the top national bus driver. The winner is Karen Miles, who drives for Trent Barton. Karen was given a perfect score in her last company mystery customer audit, thoroughly impressing with how smart she looked, how well she drove, and how friendly and welcoming she was. Seeing how the pandemic was affecting her colleagues, she has been studying mental health and well-being to become a mental health champion, and was given a COVID British Empire Medal in the Queen's Birthday Honours list. Although that's our last award, the judges wanted to note the special contribution made by Theo Taylor, the 8-year-old son of a coach operator who simply wanted to help. The start of the pandemic saw most coach operators shut down, and Applegate's coaches in Gloucestershire was no exception.
Riding on board, 8-year-old Theo, the son of coach operators. He's been writing to Boris Johnson and even the Queen to beg for help.
I've written to other people as well, just so if they can get through to Boris Johnson and just say, right, can you have a little chat with this boy please, because he's quite worried about his future. If we don't get help, a load of people, 42,000 people in the coach industry are going to lose their jobs, and how will tourism get started again?
But there was no reply. Eventually, his letters began to get support from the Honk for Hope Facebook group, and he realized he was part of a much bigger family of coach operators. He started to make daily inspirational videos, and soon, Applegate's coaches was getting telephone calls from coach operators, some of them in tears, and telling Theo's proud parents how their 8-year-old son was making them smile and believe that they could carry on. When BBC Radio Gloucestershire contacted him for an interview, he wasn't scared or worried and knew what he wanted to say.
It only started out just writing some letters, and now here I am. And I just wanted to help, really.
Then he was live on BBC Radio 2, reading his letter to the Queen on the Jeremy Vine show. He was always bemused by all the attention he was getting. To him, he was just a coach operator's son that wanted to help.
What a lovely story. And with a boy like that involved, the coach industry has a very bright future. Many congratulations to all the winners. We hope you'll all be inspired into doing some fantastic things during the next year. It's been great hearing about what the industry has been up to during the pandemic, and I really hope we can all get together soon. But for now, it's goodbye from me.
And it is just about goodbye from me as well. I hope you have enjoyed this year's slightly different ceremony, and I hope perhaps we've inspired you to go out and do more great work for the next year. And I really hope, more than anything, that we can all be together again in 2022. From me, bye for now.